About us. We are inspired by the diversity of the workplace and are dedicated to help solve problems to support the company's advancement. Our mission is to provide support to make rational decisions by identifying the underlying obstacles to success. Our vision is to aspire to bring innovation and creativity to your workplace. We are the STARS Creative Consultants, which consists of Daniel, Sehem, Rena, Maria, and Tamara. Leaders make decisions every day, but making the right decisions plays a large role in leadership effectiveness and can impact the future of a company. For example, Apple bringing back Steve Jobs after his initial firing led to Apple being one of the most valuable brands in the world. That decision for Apple to bring back Steve Jobs ultimately affected the company's performance. This means that those who collect information and use analytical techniques makes decisions that are more effective and profitable. Political behavior, on the other hand, negatively affects decision effectiveness. Decision-making is also central in Mintzberg's classic analysis of the nature of managerial work. Therefore, decision-making is a fundamental part of a leader's job, and followers expect them to make the right decisions. So why can't some people make decisions? Indecisiveness and constraints factor into this. Also, leaders often need to make decisions under pressure and without complete information, which can hinder the decision-making process. Therefore, how can one improve on decision-making? Through training and using the rational decision-making model. Now, I'm going to hand it over to Rena to explain the rational decision-making model.
Rational decision making is a multi step process for making choices between alternatives. The process of rational decision making favors logic, objectivity, and analysis over subjectivity and insight. The word rational in this context does not mean sane or clear headed as it does in the colloquial sense. This model includes a number of assumptions. Decision makers must have complete information, be able to develop an exhaustive list of alternatives, weigh them, and then choose a decision with the highest value and or lowest cost to the organization. As you may have noticed, this rational model is often emphasized in business schools through the case study method to learn the decision making process. It's a step by step model that helps leaders identify a problem, pick a solution between multiple alternatives, and find the most suitable answer to the problem. In a fast paced business environment where time is crucial, the rational model is somewhat limited. It's also an approach that tends to err on the side of caution. By limiting decision making based on what's only available, you may not be able to take the risks necessary for success. The model of rational decision making assumes that a decision maker has full or perfect information about alternatives. It also assumes that they have the time, cognitive ability, and resources to evaluate each choice against the others. Decision makers have limits on their ability to assimilate large amounts of information, and this is known as bounded rationality. Bounded rationality in decision making is the result of organizational factors, individual limits on the ability to process information and perceptions, also the result of two guesses the decision maker must address: a guess about uncertain future consequences and a guess about uncertain future preferences.
Albert Einstein said, "The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. Trust your gut." Intuition is our instinct, a capacity to gain learning without plan of action, a capacity to comprehend something naturally. In the West, the definitions of an instinct can be traced to Plato. In his book Republic, he attempts to categorize instinct as a basic limit of human motivation to appreciate the genuine idea of the real world. He portrays instinct as a prior information living in the spirit of time everlasting, and a wonder by which one ends up aware of previous learning. According to Herbert Simon, intuition is nothing more and nothing less than recognition. The situation has provided a cue. This cue has given the experts access to information stored in memory, and the information provides the answer. According to Forbes, intuition plays an essential role for decision-making in rapidly changing environments. Though there is no scientific data on whether intuition is a sixth sense or an experience, in decision-making, experts subconsciously scan the environment for cues to recognize the patterns. Those patterns determine the course of action. There is no logic in it. In a given situation, if there are contradictions in the data, lack of data, decisions that center people, the best strategy that comes to mind most likely will be to use your intuition.
Decision traps. There are three common decision errors that leaders need to be aware of and how to avoid them, which are hindsight bias, also known as I knew it all along effect, overconfidence bias or inflated confidence, and escalation of commitment, which is when a leader continues the deferring course of action even after receiving feedback showing it isn't working. In order to avoid these decision traps, we should do the following. Examine contradictory information. Don't discount data. Own up to the fact you may not know as much as you think. Allow alternative ideas. Carefully review all evidence. Have a devil's advocate to counter your argument, and be aware of taking shortcuts.
Problem solving is the process of finding solutions to difficult or complex issues. 1. Identify the issue. 2. Understand everyone's interests. 3. Team building. 4. Document the agreements. 5. List possible solutions. Given the challenges of organizational change and the need to remain competitive, leaders desire more creative problem solving in all aspects of the work followers perform. The three-component model of creativity is important, as creativity is a function of three intersecting components, which are expertise, creative thinking skills, and motivation. Support from the organization also matters for creativity to thrive. Ethical decision-making refers to the process of evaluating and choosing among alternatives in a manner consistent with ethical principles. In making ethical decisions, it is necessary to perceive and eliminate unethical options and select the best ethical alternative. 1. Define the problem. 2. Seek out resources. 3. Brainstorm a list of potential solutions.
Decision-making is a fundamental part of companies' performance, their profitability, effectiveness, and success. Problem-solving and decision-making go hand in hand. They belong to each other. In this presentation, we were introduced to the decision-making process. What is behind it? What is at stake? Learn the techniques of how to approach a problem and succeed. What are the reasons for others to fail? Develop the skills to scan the situation, identify the underlying obstacles, analyze the given information. Possibly, you need to look for alternatives. If so, this is where the creative side of problem solving comes in. Take your time in order to observe the basic guidelines of rational decision-making approach. Learn to read the environment and apply the basic rules of this approach. With time, it will become a second nature, powerful enough to adapt and improvise for custom needs.